Hello there guys, so a bit of a different video today. This is Neil, aka Road and Race.
Hello.
It's your Porsche Boxster.
Yes, nice.
And I'm going to be taking it for a bit of a drive today, aren't I?
I don't know why, it must be crazy.
So a bit of a disclosure, I've never ever driven a Porsche before, and this man is giving me the keys to his car. He's going to let me loose in his Porsche Boxster 987. But no, in all honesty, yeah, like I said, I've never driven a Porsche before. This is, well, it's a beautiful car, isn't it? Let's be honest. It's a two-seater sports car. What are we talking about? 250 horsepower?
240, yeah.
240 horsepower. This is the
987.
987. You probably know a lot more about
2.7 litre
Porsches.
engine, flat six. It's got a few upgrades, which we can talk about later. It's not completely standard.
But I guess let's jump in the driver's seat now, take this thing for a bit of a spin. That was a lovely sounding start up.
Are you recording? Yeah.
Yes. Mirror's all right. Okay, so tell me what to do. Anything I need to be aware of?
Just take it gingerly to begin with.
Yeah.
Sure. Don't have a heavy foot, but you'll be fine.
Yeah. Okie doke. What's the clutch like? Nice and light, or?
It's fairly light, yeah. Yeah.
That's quite nice actually. Like, it's not too light. Oh, it's a very short throw, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nice.
Oh, that is lovely. Oh, honestly, that is so good. Oh, it's like a little click.
Yeah, it's pretty good considering that it's linkage going from here to the back. It's not directly connected to the transmission, so it's not as good as an MX-5 gearbox or a 350Z because that's actually directly connected. But
okay,
pretty good for you know what it is.
Yeah. So you say you've done a few mods to this car then?
I've not modified it per se, but it's not standard, so it's got a lot of factory options.
Okay.
So it's got, most importantly, the PASM, which is their active suspension.
Yeah.
A very rare option on these Boxsters.
Okay. Is that kind of like their active suspension? Porsche's early active suspension, could you say? Yeah.
So you got the comfort and the sport modes.
Okay.
And we're in comfort at the moment.
Would you say it makes a big difference when you apply the active suspension?
I have driven this car on track. It doesn't make that much difference, but we have to remember is that the active suspension's always working, so it's always going to be, in theory, superior to a statically damped car.
Yeah.
So whether it's in comfort mode or sport mode, you will see it reacting, to the conditions.
Yeah. Okay.
I've not driven, the standard suspension and this back to back, but from what I can recall, this is a much more kind of compliant and supple suspension setup.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds nice. Sounds nice.
The flat six is a lovely sounding engine.
Yeah. Sounds crisp.
Twisty bit around here for you?
Yeah. That's like effortless. Yeah, honestly.
Very flat ride.
Yeah.
This car has the optional Sport Chrono pack as well, which gives you this clock on the dash, gives you kind of a lap timer. Also gives you a sport mode so that when you are on track or whatnot, it kind of backs off the traction controllers a little bit.
Okay. So you can skid in this thing then if you want to?
I don't think you could drift it because it's only got an open diff.
Right, okay.
I don't think it's got quite enough power.
Right, okay. I mean, like, what is it? What do you say, like 240 horsepower?
240 horsepower.
Do you know what the torque figure would be?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Okay.
I think about 250 newton meters, I don't know. It's not,
yeah.
It's not enormous.
I mean, we was talking earlier, like, sort of 240-ish horsepower is probably all you really need for the road, isn't it? Because, to get up to national speeds, anything more than that, you're just going to be going, like, you're just going to be going way too quick, aren't you? So
I think this is all you need. It's quick enough,
And a Porsche isn't about flat out speed, is it? It's about how fast you can take the corners, essentially.
Yes. You can use all the power, basically.
Yes. One question I do have though, with it being rear engined, or I guess mid-engined, do you have to kind of, you know, drive it any differently to how you would like a front engine car? Would you say, like, you know, when you go around a corner?
Not really. I mean, if you're taking on track, you have to be a bit aware that that's where some of the weight is. But
yeah.
Generally, day to day, no. I mean, it's just like driving any other rear engine car. You know, just don't accelerate too hard out of a corner.
Yeah.
You know, otherwise you might, you know, get the back end going round. But I think that's the same on any, you know, high-powered engine.
Okay.
Drive car.
So, is there anything you'd change about this car? There, anything that you think it'd really benefit by having off the top of your head?
No, it's pretty well sorted out of the box. I mean, obviously, its age is sometimes a problem because the stereo has nothing modern about it, so there's no auxiliary in. It's just got the radio and CD.
So who needs a stereo when you have that behind your head? I mean, can you? Let's be honest. Can you even hear the stereo when you got that thing behind your head?
Oh God. Well, the speakers are so poor, you probably don't want to listen to the stereo anyway. But,
okay.
No, you know, long journeys and whatnot, you probably want a bit of music to while away. But no, generally you drive this car because of the engine, and you don't need it that much. But that's what I'm saying. The shortcomings are quite nitpicky. Because,
yes. I suppose it comes down to the tech, doesn't it? It's not really up to date with that of a brand new car, but. You know, it's not really what you use this car for, is it? I mean, you take this thing on track, so it's not really something that particularly bothers you.
This car also has the optional 18-inch wheels, so these are the Boxster S wheels on this car, which are enormous. They've got 265 width wheels on them.
Wow, that is quite wide. So would you say the car does benefit from larger wheels, or would you say?
Well, there's loads of grip. But again, I've not driven it on the smaller wheels. My old Boxster had the smaller wheels.
Yes, they're 17s.
The one is wide. I'm not sure which diameter they were. They might have been 17s.
Yeah.
Is that stock 17s? Is it on the S? Don't know. But my old Boxster, I never noticed issues with grip or anything like that. But I guess having slightly wider tyres is always nice if you can afford to spend the extra money on the rubber.
Yeah. So how many miles per year would you say you do in this car on average?
Oh, not a lot. Probably less than 4,000 if that.
Okay, right. So would you say maintenance then is not really an issue?
Well, it's got its yearly servicing requirements.
And what are those costs like? Do you have to pay much more? I mean, because you do your own servicing and things like that. So is, say, the average oil filter, air filter, is that much more than, say, the equivalent BMW?
No, it's about the same.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. It's got the same requirements as most cars. No spark plugs every 5 years, coolant every 5 years.
Yeah.
Manual transmission fluid after so many miles. No, there's nothing really that special about it.
So what would you say is the thing that really scares people away from owning these cars? Because, I mean, Porsche 986, 987 Boxsters, you can pick them up now for what, around $5,000, which is like amazing when you think about it. Like a two-seater sports car, it's a Porsche, so you get the Porsche quality inside and out, and you can pick one up for around $5,000. I mean, what is the thing that really like keeps people away from owning these cars then?
Well, I mean, what's good about this car is because it's so well built and so well galvanised from the factory, you don't really get problems with rust. I mean, there's almost no rust on this car, and it's a 2005 car. So
she's 20 years old now.
20 years old, it's just got the normal requirements that most cars have. You know, suspension might be getting a bit tired, clutch might be getting a bit worn. I'm not sure if you take it to a Porsche dealer whether their rates are so much higher and whether genuine Porsche parts are that much higher.
Yeah.
They probably are, but if you're doing the work yourself, these cars are very cheap to own and there isn't really much that goes wrong with them. I mean, I've done a common faults video on my original 986, but things like the back of the engine's quite exposed, so like the coil packs will crack after
they do stuff because they're open to the elements, basically.
But just basic maintenance like changing belts and spark plugs and things like that. There's an oil air separator which fails after so many miles, and you'll notice kind of blue smoke out the back. that starts to go. But that's not an expensive part. I think it's under £100.
So they're
fiddly to change.
So there are common problems on these cars then, I guess. But that's the same with any car, isn't it?
Yes. I mean, obviously, I mentioned the elephant in the room, which is the IMS bearing, which most people say is the Achilles heels of these cars. But you know, having talked to quite a few people who've owned these cars and having changed the IMS bearing myself in this car, if the car's done, you know, a considerable number of miles, say 60, 70,000 miles, the bearing's probably fine. I mean, the bearing I took off my car when I've done 80,000 is fine, and this has the supposedly weaker single row bearing.
Yes.
You know, once cars get to a certain age, the bearing's either going to have failed or not. And so I'd say it's a bit of scaremongering, really.
So you'd say it's not
my bearing again.
So you'd say it's not really an issue then that you should be worried about when buying one of these cars.
No.
Okay, that's interesting, because I suppose that is probably a single thing that does scare people away from buying these cars, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. Well, we're nearly home now. What would you say are your final thoughts after a quick drive?
Well, honestly, it's. Yeah, I think it's everything I expected, and possibly a bit more as well. I mean, I've never driven any sort of sports car before, never driven a two-seater, never driven, I don't think I've ever even driven a convertible. So I guess I've had the whole package experience in one today. And yeah, I've loved it, and I think this is probably something that I've got to at least experience myself at some point. So yeah, honestly, I've loved it. Thank you so much for letting me have a quick drive.
It's very well considered, this car, isn't it?
Yes. Right, so we're back now then. Yeah, like I said, it's been an amazing experience taking this car for a test drive. Thanks once again.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add?
No, not really, no. Just
I mean, you have this car pretty well documented on your channel, don't you?
Yes. I've done loads of kind of repairs and stuff. Common fault with this generation is that the brake lines start to corrode.
Ah, right.
I'm not sure if it affects the previous generation.
Okay.
Worth checking out. I can imagine it probably does, because they're very similar.
Right,
these two
okay.
cars.
Yeah, and I suppose, you know, again, that's something on a 20-year-old car you probably are expecting. You know, brake lines are probably going to have to be replaced at that point, but shouldn't, you know, it's not a too expensive fix, you say?
No, I did it all myself. You can buy the parts and bend brake lines and join them fairly easily. Yeah.
So would you say, on the whole, it's a relatively easy car to work on?
It's a joy to work on.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's so well thought out.
Okay.
Everything's really accessible. The only problem is the exhaust.
Right.
The bolts corrode, and I've got a video on that.
Another common problem again.
Another common problem. Yeah. But apart from that, no, it's really a joy to work on.
Brilliant. Good stuff. Right, well, if you want to see some Porsche 987 videos and many of the cars, Neil's got videos on his BMW E61. Name some of the cars. You've got
350Z, S2000.
Yeah, you got a wide
original 986 Boxster.
Wide range of videos on there. But yeah, make sure you do check out Neil's channel. Make sure you do subscribe. There'll be a link down in the description box below. I want to thank you all for watching as well. Remember to give this video a like, leave a comment down below, subscribe if you haven't already done so, and I'll see you all in that next one.
Take care.